Just remember what I said. If a character dies, you're homophobic.
Only if your character dies.
No.
I can absolutely kill Chris and Tim.
Mads is a member of the LGBT community.
I am an ally.
No. LGBTQIAM plus, and the M stands for mountain.
Ally is one of the letters.
And I definitely don't think Gygax is part of the LGBTQ community.
Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
Just trying to rekindle some of the anger that was we left off on.
You said that and I immediately broke into a sweat, so this is gonna be... Shut up.
Still alive, but for how long, I can't say. I'm just going to keep documenting everything as it happens, writing as quickly as I can, so forgive the bad penmanship. We met with the Lord of the Tieflings, and he invited us to eat.
Circumstances dictate. A degree of cordiality must be shown, and you are our guests here.
Conversation began about our nations in the old war.
You do not know what the giants do to us. The Tieflings. You are the heartless ones. You are the desecration, not our nation.
I merely pointed out that my grandfather was a hero in the war, and he had told us about the horrible things the Tieflings used to do. But when I mentioned the name of my grandfather, Lord Amnon was none too happy.
Fabian Sadowski. I know this name.
He looks over at his advisors and they nod. And in an instant, the Lord of the Tieflings explodes into a puff of smoke. And he appears in his throne and pulls one of the pull cords. And the dark wooden octagonal floor below you plummets.
He opened up a trapdoor, and we fell into the pit. I fell into the pit. We fell into... Why do the catchiest melodies pop into my head when I'm frightened?
There's a terrific crash as the table, the floor, the food, the plates, everything smashes below you as you float to the floor of this long cylindrical tunnel. It's just a big hole in the floor. And then there's a tremendous clang, and you hear a horrifying scream, and then as you hit the floor with your soft feather landing, there's something that hits the floor below you at the side of this thing, and you guys are kind of speckled in a mist of blood. And when you look up, you see the silhouette of this giant iron chandelier has come down and covered the entirety of this hole like a manhole cover. There's just sort of a waterfall of blood leaking down from where one of the servants was cleaved in half.
There's been no word from Firdaus. He had left to speak with someone.
The reason I called you here to speak is because I see another war brewing. And it doesn't bode well for you up in the north. If you could find out from your cousin Signe and report back to me, I could possibly help you before the war overtakes you and your people.
I just hope he's still alive.
Firdaus, in your pit, you do not hear anything. You just see this awful creature staring at you, and it's like the horrible smells and the flies and everything are now emanating from him instead of what is now a destroyed portal. Time to Die Podcast Network presents The Giant's March. The road is long, but the world is small.
Roll a what now?
Initiative.
Oh. That's 19 on the die. Plus 1. So dirty 20.
Before you stands this hideous humanoid form that's almost as tall as you are, except it's made up of the corpses that were strewn around the room of this tower, and it has 4 beefy arms. How long does your moonbeam last?
It's concentration, so I believe a minute. I can double check that here.
He already took half damage from it, so...
Yeah, 1 minute. And it's a 5-foot radius, 40-foot high cylinder. And I don't think I can move it. Oh, yeah, I can. I can move it 60 feet using an action to move it.
Is that what you're gonna do?
Let's see. It hurts it the first time on a turn, when it enters the spell's area the first time on a turn, or starts its turn there. Okay. And so, you said it was already still standing in the beam?
Well, he'd stepped out of the way when it destroyed the altar and took half damage for it, so now he's adjacent to it. This is not a big room. I'm gonna say this room is 50 feet across. We'll say he's 25 feet from you.
Yeah, I'm just going to use my action to move it to hit. I'm basically going to move it to where it's like focused just on the edge of me, to where it's not getting me, and then just right in front of the area there, to where it's still getting it. And it will have to make a Constitution saving throw.
27 con save.
Well, that passes. Holy shit. So it's only going to take half of 8 damage, so 4 radiant damage. And maybe I should have used something else.
This thing charges at you with its 4 arms swaying, and it only attacks for 10.
Alright. It just gets 1 attack, even though it has 4 arms.
They're all swinging at once, so it's not a multi-attack, it's just more damage.
Alright. 10 misses.
Yeah, you're able to step out of the way and dip, duck, dodge, and dodge.
I just have it hit against my shield.
Okay.
Gonna make an attack with my fancy new magic spear. I'm gonna poke it. 15 plus 11.
Hit.
Alright. 11 magic damage. Magic piercing. And on the start of its turn, it'll have to do another con save for the moonbeam damage.
54.
Alright, and moonbeam damage will be...
So you jab it with this spear, and you see 2 bodies fall off the back of it.
Alright. Yeah, and then that'll be 12 reduced by half, so 6 radiant damage for the moonbeam.
Some more of the bodies in his back end get singed, and you kind of see the wounds. They don't regrow. They just kind of close up the holes with the flesh and the bones of these corpses. And he attacks you again.
All right.
This time with a 23 to hit.
That's gonna hit. Yeah.
Does 22 damage, bludgeoning.
All right, and then I'll roll for concentration, which I have advantage on because of my Warcaster feat, which I'm glad that I have advantage on. And I fail. Alright, so I take 22 damage and my moonbeam goes down.
He is able to knock your shield out of the way, and then these 3 other arms just come tumbling down upon you. It's just blow after blow.
You unnatural bastard. And I'm going to sort of reel back, and I'm going to cast Summon Beast. I'll call forth the bestial spirit that manifests itself in an unoccupied space that I can see, which is on the opposite side of this thing that's attacking me. As the creature that I'm choosing it to resemble, it will be... I'm going to go with the big bear. And so this thing, I think it goes on my turn. So, yeah, I think it can go, like, right now, after I cast it. Ursa, sick him! And, yeah, this bear is going to make an attack on you. So does a 12 hit that thing?
Barely.
Okay. So the first attack hits and the second attack. So 16 for the first hit and 18 for the second hit.
Yeah, this bear starts shearing his claws through the corpse of this monster, and there's no blood or gore. It's just dust and flesh and brittle bones, and you hear them clattering and cracking under the weight of this bear's paws. It's just nasty. It's got strips of flesh hanging off. It's got flies buzzing around it, and the heat in this room is still, even though the portal's gone, you can still feel your sweat evaporate off your skin as you fight this thing, and it's going to try and pummel you again with its 4 fists. Should be a hit.
Yeah, my AC is 14, so...
12 plus 7. 19 damage.
Alright, so, yeah, I kind of brace myself and shake that off. Yeah, I'm not doing great. I think one more hit from this thing could probably do me in. So,
You're not a beefcake like Mads.
no, I'm definitely not. And so when it gets to my turn, I will cure wounds on myself at 3rd level. 3 heal back. And then the bear's gonna take another couple swings. Hit him again, Ursa! And it's definitely hit on the second time. Let me see if it's 13 and 11 for the second hit.
Yeah, this bear tears through this monster's legs again, and you see the flesh continuing to reform, but this thing's starting to shrink down in size as the bodies topple from it, and he's about like half the size of when he started. He's still packing a heavy punch, but he just doesn't have as much mass to him.
Is Let the Bodies Hit the Floor playing in the background?
Alright, that's another hit. 16 bludgeoning.
Okay.
You know what? The bear's doing, no offense, the bear's doing more damage to him. I think he's gonna try and spin around and start hitting this bear.
So the 16 damage goes to the bear instead of me?
Yeah, the bear's pissing him off.
Okay. Yeah, this round I am going to attack again with my spear. I would get advantage, I would guess, since I'm flanking with the bear.
I don't know if that's in the rules, but I think it's fair.
So, yeah, 17 on the die, plus 11. So that, yeah, it's definitely going to hit there. But it's only a lowly d6 plus 8. 13. And then my bear hit on the first hit. And I'm glad he has pack tackets, but that's a miss on the second hit. It is 13.
This thing is looking rough, and the flesh at this point some of it has stopped reforming as it's trying to focus on combat and not so much on healing it. And then, in an instant, this entire thing explodes into a sort of a mist of dust and debris as it floats through the air, almost as if blown by the wind, and it kind of makes you cough a little bit as it brushes past you and through you and starts to head up the stairs as a big wispy mass, and then it reforms into the shrunken body that it was before, and it starts dashing towards the door upstairs from the hall in which you came.
Is it still in my line of sight when it reforms?
Spiral stairs, so you just catch the tail end of it and then it disappears.
Alright, well then I will tell my beast, get going after it. And I will also move my speed, which, I mean, it's 120 per turn, so I think I could get pretty close to it or whatever, or get to where I could see it. And when I'm within 90 feet of it, or it's in my line of sight, whichever's more practical, I will cast Melf's Acid Arrow at it.
Excuse me?
It's a spell first created by Melf.
Melf, okay.
Yep. And it's an acid arrow.
I think you can catch him at the door, and I don't think your bear's going to be able to reach him.
Okay. 19?
Hit.
Okay. That's 9 acid damage, and at the end of your next turn, you'll take an additional 2d4 acid damage, which I'll go ahead and roll that right now, which is 4.
You see this monstrosity try to do that dissolve thing again, but there's so much going on, and the acid is just, he's leaking skin and flesh and bones, and so he flings the door open and slams it behind him.
Shit. Come, Ursa. And I continue to pursue it up the stairs.
You fling up in the door, and you see him at the end of the hall towards where it goes outside.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm going to continue to run after it, and as I'm pursuing it, I'm going to cure wounds myself again. 9 back. Alright.
He doesn't even open this door. He's able to focus enough that he bursts into a mist of dust again, and then he kind of goes under the threshold of this door and outside.
Yeah, so I'll open the door and pursue him outside and see if I can see him.
He decided to head south, and so he's going towards the entrance of the castle and the kind of garden-y area.
Alright, as I burst through the door and notice this, do I see any other, like, sort of castle guards or anything that I would have to worry about?
You see the hot sun, which is kind of blinding at first, but otherwise the town looks the same as when you first charged in as a elk or whatever it was.
Alright. Well, I'm going to exhaust my movement, get as close as I can, and then throw my spear at it like a javelin.
Go for it.
Alright. How far is it away from me?
It's shrunken down now, so it's not moving at the distance it was or the speed it was, so you can easily get as close to adjacent as you want.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, I'll get in within 20 feet of it. That is a 12 plus 11.
That's a hit.
Chuck the spear and 10 magic piercing damage. Signe, with that returning quality, do I have to use a bonus action for that, or is that a free action?
It's a free action, it just instantly returns.
Alright, so yeah, as soon as it hits, it just returns to my hand.
You see it's at the point now where all this regeneration, this closing of wounds, and this getting pieces knocked off of it, it's kind of close to the size of a regular man. It's about probably 7 feet tall now, but looking a little scrawny. It's not bulky like it was before.
Yeah, no, my undead friend. Will not be escaping today.
Another burst of dust, and it moves 30 feet through the air as if blown on the wind, and reforms and then tries to go its full distance. But again, it's so small, it's like the distance of a normal person, so it gets probably a total of 60 feet from you. What do you want to do?
Yeah, then I'll use, half of my movement basically to get up to 20 feet away from it again, and I'm going to do a ranged attack again at it. And has my bear started to catch up at this point? Because it's slower than I am.
Not really.
Yeah.
You would guess it's probably in the hallway right now.
Oh, okay. But yeah, it hits, and that's a 5 plus 8, so a 13 magic piercing damage. Then it returns.
I think your spear completely topples it at this point, because your spear is massive, and this thing is the size of a normal person, so it just knocks it off its feet, and it's prone now, just laying on the ground. And it's probably the size of, like, the height of maybe a dwarf right now at this point, and you see all these limbs and stuff, mummified bones scattered across the pathway.
Alright, then I'm going to walk up to it and just poke it like a kid poking a dead body with a stick.
I'll give you a coup de grace just to roll your damage.
Yeah. Alright, that's a full 6 on the 6-sided die, so 6 plus 8.
You jab it with your spear, and the formation of it just kind of all falls apart, like if you were to pull a thread that had it all tied together, and it's just a pile of bones now.
I'm like out of breath after all that. You son of a bitch. Such an unnatural thing. Not even ill will take you into her kingdom upon your death.
Roll perception.
Alright, that is not good. 7.
I think you are too tired and staring at your victory and looking for your bear to notice anything, but you are now kind of at the bottom corner of the castle, right around the corner from the entrance.
Yeah, my scraggly white beard is just like dripping like a watering can, and it looks like rain underneath me on the ground.
Every time you got close to this creature, you could see that beard was evaporating this mist of liquid, but now that this thing is dead, they're forming real droplets and dropping down to the ground.
Is there any sort of remnants left over, valuable, or even anything that some sort of knowledge could be derived from?
Nothing but skin and bones. Looks much like the pile when you first entered the tower.
Has the bear come around and made its way into my sight?
I assume you left the door open so you can see it charging out now, and when it sees you and the pile of bones, it kind of slows its pace a little bit and starts approaching you. Signe and Mads, you guys are up by this cage door as these Cyclops are pounding the last of these stakes, when suddenly in this throne room, a couple of these little tiefling guys run in and they say, "There is a third giant. He is outside the castle." People start marching out towards the entrance of this.
Do the Cyclops leave?
Some of the Cyclops went, but there's enough that they're still able to pound the last of the stakes into this grate, which is actually a chandelier. How long does your fly last?
10 minutes.
You probably have like 2 or 3 minutes left. I don't know if your character would know that, but I'm letting you know.
Okay. She would have been keeping track. Say I used acid arrow. How big would that be able to be?
Within range and bursts into a spray of acid. Range area is 90 feet. If you shot this at the grate, I think it would do like speckle corrosion, you know what I mean? That seems like, and then it would make like a circle of splatter damage. Physically, I feel like that would make sense.
Yeah. Alright, so then I'm going to cast acid arrow, and I'm going to say, Mads, get out of the way.
I'll swing over a little way.
Oh yeah, I need to know that. Like, you're hanging onto this grate, so you're just gonna try and get to the wall?
Yeah, and if I get sprayed by some of it, I get sprayed by some of it.
Okay.
I'm gonna do some fucked up shit. So that is... Do I have to make an attack roll?
Not for... You're almost point blank. I'm gonna let you have this.
Okay. So that's 44. 4. So that's 11, and then it takes 2d4. It takes 2d4 at the end of its next turn, but we're not an initiative, and it's a piece of iron. So how do you want to do that? Do you want it to just take that now, or...
Yeah, go ahead and roll it.
Okay. 3. So 14 total.
14 total between those two. Okay. You fire this acid arrow, and it does hit the center of this grill, or this grate. but it does this area effect of splatter damage, and so you see it spray across the grid of iron bars that are holding you in this hole, but you also see it, some of it speckles Mads, but he got off to the side. Some of it rains down on your companions below, onto Bogdana, onto Creed, and they just try to shield themselves with bits of the table and stuff that were down there. You hear the sizzle like it's on a frying pan, and you see some of this stuff eating away at the iron bars. It's not like it ever collapses or anything, but it's in some places it's almost eaten through. In other places it's just got pock holes. In terms of weakening it, you would estimate, yes, you definitely weakened it.
Keep trying, and she's gonna land on the ground before she gets a chance to fall.
Okay. At this point, they've nailed the stakes down, and most of the people have left the room to go get this third giant or go investigate. I don't think the Cyclopses are intelligent enough to think, oh, they're actually doing damage to this grate. So they just kind of start wandering out of the room to put their tools away. Mads, what do you want to do?
What I would like to do specifically is I want to get close to an area that's been pretty damaged, and I want to swing my legs up and like wrap them around a bar, and then try and use my both my weight and also my core to try and pull it down.
Okay, right on. Give me a athletics check.
Okay. Holy fuck. So that's a 17 plus 10.
Yes! Yes!
Give me a high or low.
High.
This grate splinters at the point where you were hanging, and little fragments fall as this thing swings free. And it's got enough on the opposite end of this circle of splatter damage that instead of falling loose, it just kind of bends on a hinge. And so it's like a trap door that fell open towards you guys. And there is now enough room for you at least to get out. How to get the others out remains to be seen.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'm going to go monkey bar my way back over to where I put my rope in with the pythons. I'm going to grab onto my rope, and I'm going to climb out then. And now I will find a place to tie off said rope.
You currently have this throne room available to you. It's you and this corpse of a queen.
I'll tie it off, and I will yell down, "Go ahead and start climbing up!" And then I will cast Moonbeam on the corpse.
How much rope is it?
I have 500 feet. Hold on, I'll check.
Oh, that's more than enough. I was just checking. Roll damage for Moonbeam.
All right, will do. So that is 14 radiant damage.
The corpse explodes. Not all over this glass encase that it's encased in. It just kind of explodes at the floor, and then all these pieces kind of scatter across the floor and bounce off the glass walls that this thing was encased in, and it is now an empty throne.
Mads will look down the thing and he'll say, "Hey, Signe, if we were not at war before, we are now."
What did you do?
You will see when you get up here.
Did you do what I think you did?
I did. I have destroyed his mother.
Okay.
Firdaus, you, about the time that your bear reaches you and you're trying to plan what your next move is, you start to hear shouting coming from the entrance of this castle. What do you do?
I'm going to go and run back into the entrance that I left out of. And I'm going to close the door behind me. And is there any sort of locking mechanism on it?
It's a bolt lock.
Okay, then I'll close the bolt. I'm going to lean down to the bear and say, "Ursa, can you smell my cousins?" And I'll leave that up to you whether this, because it's not an actual bear, it's a spectral bear. So
does it have perception stats?
It does have perception, but it's not like it's like, like a real bear would have a bonus to smell-based perception or anything.
Give me high or low.
I'll go high.
Alright, give me a perception check.
So 15?
The bear just kind of stares up at you.
Figures. So I know that the place where that altar was, there were no other entrances or exits in that room, right?
The two exits that you noticed were on the opposite side of the portal thing you destroyed.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna go down to the first one.
When you reach the bottom of the staircase, give me a perception check.
So 14?
Yeah, so when you get to the bottom of the stairs, you kind of start to scan the room now that it's quiet and peaceful. You actually notice 3. There's one behind the portal which would be north. There's one next to the portal, which would be more south. And then there's one behind the staircase, which would also be south, but more like southwest. So it's like a southeast, southwest, and then a north-ish.
I just do a quick, eeny, meeny, miny, mo in my head as I stand there, and I'm trying to think quick before the others can unlock that door and get to me. And I'm going to go to the one under the stairs first.
Okay, so southwest. It's just an empty tunnel. There's no doors. There's no nothing. But the kind of crude cobblestone or tile floor has just turned to dirt and stone now at this point, and the walls that were made of brick are just earth. And you start making your way through this dark hallway, but you can see enough to navigate. Since you're a giant, you have dark vision, and it kind of curves down and around a corner, and then you get to another fork in the road. It's going to be a path to your left, or you can keep going straight where it curves around again.
Do I sort of get the sense that one of these tunnel ways leads to fresh air?
Nope.
I look towards Ursa. I'm like, I don't think we're going the right way. I will backtrack. Then, just as I get closer to where it opens up into the stairs, I will sort of listen around before I just step right out there.
Nothing. Well, some flies.
Okay, then I'm going to I'll go to the north one, and then as I'm going past the altar, I want to take a look around to see if there's anything of note that's sort of left or anything.
Nothing but the pieces of this monstrosity that you tore from it.
And then I'm going to continue down the north passageway.
It opens up into another tile floor room, but there's not really anything in here. And as you continue north, it's a long tunnel. If you were to kind of make just an estimated guess as to the length of this tunnel, you get the sense that it's kind of leaving the underground of this castle and more probably going underground into the city.
I'm going to roll an insight check for him to see if he would feel like he was going the right way or not. And that's a 19 on the die.
Common sense would lead you to believe that you're probably leaving the castle right now underneath it, and you would need to go south to get deeper into the castle in order to get to where they probably are.
Yeah, so at this point I would backtrack and go to the last entrance.
This entrance goes down a long hallway, again with the rocks and the dirt, and then another room, and it bends to the left. When you go to the left, you can see, again, 2 options. A south and an east. Give me an insight check.
13.
You would probably guess that east would be leaving the castle again. South would be kind of getting underneath the entrance of the castle, closer to the center of the castle, really.
Yeah, I'll do the south then.
You go south, and when it comes around the corner, you see a longer, open hallway, and at the very far end, you see another spiral staircase, and all along to your left and to your right, you see these empty cells with jail doors on them, and they're a giant size, since this was all constructed by giants, so there's just bones and stuff littering these floors.
Suppose this is both good and bad. Good that they're not in here, And bad that I still do not know where they are. Come, Ursa, let's not waste time. And I start going up the spiral staircase. And once I start going up that, I'm gonna slow down to, remain as stealthy as possible. Aubrey just wrote in the chat, wow, must be nice to be able to keep your animal companion. And I'm thinking, well, he only lasts an hour, so...
Signe and Mads, this rope has just been dropped down to the bottom of this prison. Who's going first?
While I'm waiting for them, I am going to go and start kicking down the door. I don't even care if I can get it open. I am breaking that shit.
You've got a door to the south, to the east, and to the west, and then to the north. The north is where the throne room was, so it would go behind the wall where the queen's throne was butted up against.
All right, we'll break that one first.
Okay.
I'll use my battle axe for help.
Give me a strength check, and then, Signe, why don't you give me an athletics check if you're going to climb this rope.
Okay.
Do you want it to be an attack or just a straight-up strength?
Make it an attack.
10.
Okay. I think you're able to climb it, but you're really slow. This thing is awkward, and you're probably not very well versed with climbing ropes, and you're having to use a lot of upper arm strength and body strength. So, I think Bogdana is gonna come up behind you and start holding on with one arm as she gives you a foothold with her other hand, as pushes you up forward, and then pulls herself behind you and continues this cycle until you're about halfway up.
Oh, my love. Okay.
It's kind of shocking how much weight she's able to bear on one arm as she pushes you upwards.
Wow, you're so strong. And she doesn't actually say that. But
she thinks it, and we all needed to know
she
that.
thinks it. She's sitting there going, wow. Doing the hair tuck. Wow, you're so strong. Okay.
Mads, if this was any normal door, you'd just be able to flick it open with a finger, but this is Giant's construction, and it's very thick wood. I think this is going to take you a while. Is there any strategy you want to employ to weaken it?
So I would like to... I'm going to chop at the hinges, and then kind of back up a few steps, and then kind of charge into it with my shoulder, chop at the hinges some more, back up, fucking shoulder it again, and basically rinse and repeat until I get it open.
In that case, give me an athletics check.
Alright.
I'll roll for my fat bard.
That's not great. That's a 13. 3 plus 10, though, still gets me a 13. That's so dumb.
The fat bard is very much struggling, and I think at this point, Bogdana is kind of she pushes you up with one hand, then she reaches down and pulls him up with the opposite hand, and then she climbs, and then she pushes you up and then pulls him up. It's very inefficient and stupid, but it's working, so.
Meanwhile, you can hear Mads grunting angrily, and there's just a loud thwack! Thwack! Crash!
Mads, you shatter through this door, and you are instantly hit with an intense heat, unlike any you've ever felt before. And all the liquid on your body, any sweat, any saliva, any moisture in your eyes, they instantly go dry, and you start to itch. And before you, this entire room is piled with bodies around the perimeter of the wall, and there's another portal with the whale bones, but this one's much larger. It's almost the size of you. These whale bones come up to almost eye level, and the flies in here are thick, and it's just all so nauseating, the horrible stench. What do you want to do?
I am going to pull out a javelin, and I am going to huck it as hard as I fucking can at a piece of whalebone.
They're much larger, so they're not hard to hit, but they're going to be obviously more difficult to destroy. Give me an attack.
All right. 7 plus 10 is a 17.
As Signe is just starting to crawl up out of this pit, you land your attack into this whalebone. And then this whole thing lights up. But it's this dark energy. The flies start swirling around, and it begins to pulsate. I'll give you one more action.
I am specially equipped for this type of bullshit.
These whale bones is going to be comparable to cutting down a very dense, old, hard tree.
How far are the whale bones specifically? Like, how far are they from me right now?
Like 50 feet.
Okay. I am going to hold my breath, charge in there, and fucking smack it. Like, really smack it, and I'm gonna smite this motherfucker this time.
I don't see any reason why you would miss this attack, so just give me the damage.
Okay. 12. So that'll be 25 damage, but 18 of it will be radiant.
You said axe, or what were you using?
I'm using the glaive for this one.
It wedges about halfway through this thick whalebone. There's this tremendous explosion that knocks you backwards. You're a big dude, so I don't think it slams you against the wall, but you just stagger backwards. And then all the bones start to swirl. And the whole wall that separated the throne from the portal begins to crack. And all those little bits and pieces of the queen that you scattered, they start swirling as well, as Signe would see, and when the wall falls, they get sucked up into this whirlwind, and you see the formation of a body made of bodies in the shape of a dragon. It's standing taller than you. It's probably standing about 35 to 40 feet.
What type of horrid construction are you? No response? No matter. And Mads will smite it again.
Okay. This thing is just forming, so I think you would have the opportunity to smite it before it can do anything.
Now, I would like to point out, undead things get extra damage from radiant stuff. So,
Yep.
double damage. Okay, just making sure.
And Signe, you are out of the hole. I think Bogdana's currently pulling Creed up out of the hole.
She's getting out her crossbow.
Okay. Yeah, you can see all this now. It's behind the glass at this point, unless you go through the doorway, but the whole wall collapsed and her bones got sucked up into this monstrosity, so it's all visible.
I got a 29 to hit.
That is definitely a hit.
We have 15 radiant damage and 14 regular, and I do have a second attack if you'll allow it.
Yep.
Alright. And I will use my last second level smite because fuck the world. 18 to hit.
That is a hit.
Also, I accidentally used a D4 or a 3D8s instead of a D10 in that last one, so it was less damage than it could have been. Oops. So the radiant is going to be 10, and the slashy is going to be 12.
Okay. So as they are finally getting out of this pit, and Signe's drawing her bow, and I'm sure the others are starting to arm themselves, Matt, you take your glaive and you slash through this horrible dragon with all your might before it can kind of come to its senses, and you immediately see several of these corpses fly off of it and hit the back wall of this little closety room, and it shakes its head and it looks down at you, and then it lets out this tremendous roar.
Mads will look the thing dead in the eyes and he'll say, I believe in my language. The response is, fuck you.